What up, people? You're listening to the Atlanta podcast, where we drink local beer and invite you into our unfiltered talks on news and culture in the city of Atlanta. Now, when I say unfiltered, I mean...
He's trying to say we say fuck a lot.
Yeah, it's rated R for, ribbed for your pleasure.
Oh. Nigga.
You like
No
it, right?
lube, bro?
No? Too much?
All right.
Run it back.
Enjoy the show. What up, people? Welcome to the Atlanta podcast. It's your boy Christian,
Justin,
And Myron.
and we're talking about stuff going on in Atlanta. Listeners, we are back in the beer basement,
Hey.
recording on Tuesday, June 16th, 2020, with some very special guests. We have Sean and Shannon, the CEO and marketing manager of the super popular local brewery, Pontoon Brewing. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Sweet. Before every episode, we like to crack open a local beer to enjoy and discuss with our jack of all drafts, Myron. So, Myron, what we got on tap?
So what Sean and Shannon has graced with their presence is actually a beer. I thought I've had everything I've had from Pontoon, but I haven't had this one. So I'm actually pretty excited. It's their dark. I was about to say dark party. No,
That's funny because of the whole...
yeah. But Dock Party Pilsner. It is made with Mount Hood hops, which I haven't had before. So I'm actually excited to taste this. I'm going to go ahead and crack it up. And Sean, tell us about this beer.
Yeah. So this is a traditional German Pilsner. The malt and hops, except for the Mount Hood hops, all came from Germany. The beer was actually naturally carbonated, which is super cool. Most breweries will force carbonate, where they take CO2 and they push it onto the beer to get it into the beer. This, we actually used a device called a spunning valve, and you basically, as it's fermenting, it captures the CO2 that's being released and pushes it back into the beer. So it gives it for a more soft mouthfeel. Yeah. So this is our very traditional German Pilsner. As you guys obviously can't see through the radio,
I was just about to say, it's nice. It's very transparent.
It's transparent. It's got some good head and some lacing. Yeah.
Taking a sip right now.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Woo. Oh, this is really good. So it has. So I'm not a big lager or Pilsner fan in general, just the style.
Sure.
However,
Poolside like a motherfucker.
However, this has a lot more body than I would expect from your traditional lager or pils.
Right.
You get a lot of fruit character.
Yep.
Out of it, which is really good.
Yeah, lager yeast can put off some slightly fruity esters. You don't want to eat too much, but honestly, some of this is from the hops too. So you get a good hop profile. It's not too bitter. You could actually probably classify this as a Bohemian style Pilsner, just because of the low bitterness on the hops. But it gives it enough where it's not too sweet either.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is a good balance. Like you said, it's not a fruit beer, obviously, but you get fruity characters from.
Yeah,
hops, and I sort of get little pear-ish flavor from it. This is great.
Yeah, this is
you're giving a couple people in the city a run for their money on the traditional styles.
I love it. Yeah, you never think so with Pontoon,
Damn, this is good. I'm really surprised because I'm not a big Pilsner or Log fan.
I've been on my Pilsner and Lager kick lately, and I'm a huge fan.
She's very happy.
I'm very happy. Dem Bones, Dock Party, Soul Crusher, and a new release we've got coming up next month, OK Zoomer. I am stocking up on all of those.
Nice. All right. Well,
Very clean, too.
thank you for bringing the beer.
Yeah.
I appreciate guests who bring their own beer.
This will be the first of quite a few beers we're going to drink tonight.
Facts.
Yeah, this is about to be crazy. There it is.
Chug.
There we go.
It's going to be that kind of party.
Yep.
I remember pouring my first beer.
All right. Before we get into it, let's talk about the brewery. Origin story.
Sure. Yeah.
How did Pontoon come to be?
So Pontoon, we actually started off as a contract brewery back in the day. Our two good friends, Eddie and Eric, they started Pontoon. We were minority investors. Marcus was living in Florida. I was living in Tennessee at the time. And they were starting to pick up some momentum. And, being a contract brewery, it's really tough. You don't have your own spot. Other people in the community don't really call you a real brewery because you don't have your own brewery. So they were either going to have to build a brewery or close down. And so before they did that, Marcus and I just happened to move to Atlanta, and we were talking with Eddie and Eric, and they're like, yeah, we're probably going to shut Pontoon down. And Marcus and I were both like, no. We got great branding. We've got, a city that still has plenty of room for growth. And so we told Eddie and Eric, like, hey, look, we'll open up the brewery. We're going to buy out the majority shares of the company on the contingency that if we open up the brewery, we'll take over. And so 2.5 years later, after that point, we opened up our first spot over in Sandy Springs.
And what year was that?
That was 2017, technically. It was like December 2017. Our anniversary is in January because that was our first full launch. So, it was not an easy story. We got rejected 8 times by banks.
8 times?
Yeah.
Y'all are white?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
I was about to say the same thing. I was like, what the fuck? You know what it was? It was because Marcus is like the second white guy I've met named Marcus.
Yeah. There you go.
The other one is my neighbor.
Oh, wow.
I've only met 2 white Marcuses.
That wasn't common.
The bank was like, Marcus denied.
Right.
Yeah.
The 8 times. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's funny to look back at it now, but at the time it was very defeating. There were several nights where I was just like, this is done. Not going to happen. Not going to continue. Guess I better start looking for jobs. I actually started working with Certera, which is a medical marijuana company here in Atlanta. Nice. So started working for them, doing some contract work. And then we got our lucky break. Bank gave us a shot, and we opened up. And that's where we're at today.
So you didn't come up with the name Pontoon. You took it over from Eric and
yes, yeah. So we were kind of like a group when we decided to start Pontoon. But I will give the credit to Eddie and Eric for the actual name Pontoon Brewing and the branding on it.
Because I was wondering about the name, and for those listeners, for those who don't know, if you haven't been to Pontoon, their mascot is an otter. Mm-hmm. So the otter is going to be on every beer. It's if you go in the brewery, it's on the walls.
Yep.
It is great. It's dope art in general. But I was always curious about the name and the mascot.
Yeah. So the mascot actually came from us. I'm obsessed with otters. That was I have a very weird obsession with otters. They're just
I thought it was deeper than that. You're just I really like.
No, I really
we've created a deeper story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, a pontoon boat is a floating party platform, right? Because no one gets a pontoon boat to go fast or to show off, right? They're usually ugly pieces of shit, and they're just hanging together. But no one cares, right? You're just out on the deck drinking beers. Otters are literally life's version of pontoons. They don't take anything seriously. They play with their food. They're just messing around, and they're floating on the surface. So it worked really well together to have those.
That does work well.
I have an obsession with otters, but there is a real story to it. Yeah.
Do you own one yet?
I would. I see videos. So you see videos online of domesticated otters, and I'm like, I could do it. I could do it. They just, they're goofy little dogs, but they they can move their hands, and I don't know.
I always like seeing them because at your anniversary parties, you always bring.
We have an otter. Noah the otter. Yep.
You don't have a live otter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anniversaries and just so far our anniversaries and grand opening, he comes every time. In fact, his sister that they called him, it was her first experience out. She was a baby otter. So
last year.
last year. Yeah. On Sunday they came out with Noah, who's a veteran at this point. He's been out 3 times. And then the baby otter. So yeah.
Shit, last year y'all had a kangaroo too.
We had a kangaroo.
We had an armadillo last
Yes.
year and a kangaroo
Yeah.
the 2 previous years. Well, because otters have a really short attention span, so they can't have Noah out for too long.
Like me.
The human embodiment of an otter.
Yeah.
So they bring a second animal so that there's something else to come out every 15 minutes and
But they
distract people.
never tell you what it is.
No, it's a surprise the day
I
of.
thought it was a lie when because I know y'all always bring out the otter, and y'all have another animal like you just said, but last year it said, someone said they're bringing a kangaroo. I was like, get the fuck out of here. That was just a rumor. It's like, I know they bring animals, but not a fucking kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
My wife and I went there, and we didn't see the kangaroo at first because we were there early. So Noah was there, the otter, and then they had another, I forget what animal. They had a few. And I was like, man, someone's lying, someone's drunk or whatever. I went to the bar, I got a beer, and I came back. I was like, is that a fucking kangaroo? It was a baby. It was a Joey.
Yeah.
And I was like,
He was at the bar?
no, when I came back from the bar.
Yeah.
From the bar.
She had a hoodie.
Yeah.
She had a hoodie and it was hiding in the arm pocket of the hoodie like a mama kangaroo. Oh yeah,
yeah.
it was a little weird, but whatever. We're a little weird, so
And I was just
it
like,
works.
there's a fucking kangaroo at the
Yep.
bar. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
The armadillo was a surprising one for me, but
Yeah, that was a little weird. It was an albino
yeah.
armadillo, which okay. And every year we always ask, "What are you bringing?" And they're always like, "We'll surprise you guys." We're like, "It would be nice to say what we have coming to the brewery so that we can excite people." No, okay, sure. It's a surprise every time.
See, that's how they get you because they catch them right before.
Oh yeah,
they come. They was like, we
who
don't
can
know.
we get?
Brought a possum.
Like,
Get that out of here. Yeah.
Possum looks kind of dirty.
We found him in the back parking lot.
Now, Shannon, when did you get to the brewery?
So I was living up in Virginia up until 2 years ago. So I started in June of 2018. So I've been with Pontoon for, we just hit my 2-year mark. So just 2 years now.
Oh,
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a fun ride.
how was Sean as a boss?
He's
It's okay.
okay. He's sitting right next to me.
I'll take okay.
Yeah, no. Pontoon's been great to work with. The brewery I was at before, they're up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. They were about 7 years old. They were very stuck in their ways. I love the Blue Ridge Mountains. I love what breweries are doing out there, but they've got things down to a science. Atlanta was a huge growing beer scene. So it's been really exciting to join on here. I've been thrown a lot of things that I didn't think I would ever be
No
doing.
consistency ever.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
so-
I'll take that. Yeah.
It's been a fun time, No one's ideas are bad ideas, so we kind of just run with whatever. And a lot of it's worked out. So that's been a fun time.
Awesome.
So with that being said, you said that Atlanta was a growing beer city. What is opening a brewery? You told us the origin, but how has your experience been over the last 2-3 years? Being that Atlanta as a beer city has grown over the last maybe 5 or so.
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. So, what's really cool is when we were in the process of building the brewery, the law had not changed that allowed breweries to sell beer out of their own brewery. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, and that's because it is. There was this rule that basically you had to do a tour system. And I remember the first time I came to Georgia to buy beer, to go to a brewery. We went to Monday night, and I somehow got around the little booth that gives you tickets and a glass. And I went up to the bar, and they were like asking me for my glass, and I was like, I have to bring my own glass to a bar, like a brewery, like, can I buy one here? And they're like, oh no, you need tickets. And I was like, you're not speaking English to me right now. And so eventually, they like the taproom manager like came over and was like, you're clearly not from here, so let me tell you how this works. And it just blew my mind, because I moved from Tennessee, which had breweries, and you could go and just go to the brewery and buy a pint, or Florida, and all over the country. I'd been to all these breweries, and I'd never seen anything like this. So it was strange. And so as we were building out the brewery, there was a lot of momentum for SB 85, which was the bill that would potentially allow breweries to sell beer out of their brewery. There was a bill called SB 63, I believe, that was pushed through, but when it got to either the House or the Senate, or the state Senate or state House, they changed some of the phrasing, and it went from being allowed to have sell beer out of their brewery to like, well, now you can do tours. So it like totally messed everything up. And so when they finally put this bill through that allowed breweries to sell beer, we were like in the middle of building. Like we actually stopped our build, changed some of the, made our tap room bigger, and because we really wanted to focus on being able to sell beer.
Nice.
And so seeing that transition from, these breweries that had to struggle to stay open because they're doing tours and had to largely rely on distribution, that wasn't a thing anymore. And so in the growth that you've seen from 10 years in Georgia and Atlanta beer, you can even do another little microcosm of the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. And it's been, growth wise, we have almost like doubled, I want to say, the number of breweries in 3 years. And the last, it took, I think, 6 years to double from like the previous time. So the growth is a lot more rapid now. And you're seeing these little guys pop up, which are really cool. Like shout out to Chase over at Contrast. Yep. He's got his, really own premise. He puts a few kegs out, but really controls it at the brewery. You have people like Halfway Crooks that, have kind of coined the term own premise for Georgia. And they're doing great stuff and, doing really a lot of things out of their breweries. And so you're seeing these guys, the variants of the world. And then you are seeing some breweries that are opening up and putting out in distribution like we are. So it's been really cool to see. And Georgia is vastly behind the rest of the country.
On everything.
On a lot of things. I do love being in Atlanta. And I really have started to really get into the culture here and like learn more of the history and see what the city's all about. We lived out in the sticks when we first moved here, and I was like, man, I hate living in Atlanta. And then when I moved to Atlanta, yeah, I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is a really cool city. There's a lot to do here. And so, I'm really happy to see the growth and the excitement. There's still a lot of people that aren't drinking beer because of the connotations they think of beer. And that's why we love Pontoon, because we love putting out beers that, my favorite thing to do is find people that don't like beer. And I'm like, got them. Yep, that's one of my favorite things to do. And so, we're seeing a lot of that, not just from us, but other breweries, making styles that are more approachable. That's kind of Pontoon shtick, and that's always been. We push the limits, but we also make sure that it's still approachable for everyone.
Right.
Even when we do a strawberry banana milkshake IPA with vanilla and lactose tunes.
When we finally put out my tomato beer at some point.
She is fighting this so hard.
I'm going to make it happen. At some point or another, Pontoon will have a tomato beer. You used to be on board.
I'm not saying I'm not on board. I'm just saying, like, you're uphill battle. Uphill battle.
I could see it happen. Tomato is a fruit, right? So.
Yeah, it is. Shout out to Wild Heaven. They made a tomato beer for the Tomato Fest. Yeah, and it was a tomato. I want to say it was either tomato or tomato basil saison. And it was their white blackbird saison that they do. Yeah. And that was really good. That was probably the best tomato beer I've had because the saison brings in those. Yeah.
Have you had more than one tomato beer?
I've had like 3, you know.
Oh, that's surprising.
You know, the other 2 were not so good. I'll, leave it there.
I tried a tomato pepper wine the other week. Didn't realize peppers were in it. I hate spicy things, so was not a huge fan, but I've got some other ideas. It's fine.
right.
We'll leave it at that.
One
I'd
out
like
of
a
three ain't
goza. No peppers.
I like the fact that, like you said, that you personally, and then as you know, as a culture of Pontoon, you like to make beer more approachable in general.
Correct.
You know, for people who may not like beer, may not know about beer,
Right.
or who may like beer, but for someone like us, especially me, because we know each other.
Absolutely.
I'm a big beer nerd. And for beer, it is a predominantly white,
Yes.
specifically white male,
Yes.
Industry.
73%.
Yeah. That's a large number.
I came with my homework today.
Large number.
Yeah.
So I like that idea of, being more welcoming to beer in general, but the beer community, and say, hey, even though this is the South, we're friends. We're good. We can talk shit over beer. And
Absolutely.
it's nice. So I definitely like that.
That's kind of the goal too. Craft beer is about the beer itself, but also community. You rarely see a brewery that opens up that doesn't care about their community. And if you do, they generally don't survive very long, or they're not liked in their own community, which is weird. So, I mean, if you go into the idea of opening up a brewery and you don't care about your own community, you've got it wrong, because believe me, you're not going to get rich. And, the idea is it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, what your preferences are, your political affiliations, religions, race, whatever. Like, there's a mutual thing that we have in common, and it's, this is beer, and we can talk about beer, and we can do these fun things like bottle shares. It's always fun to see people that have never been to a bottle share come to their first bottle share. It's like a kid in a candy shop. Everyone is just happy. They're popping bottles. They're just like talking about the beer. If you didn't know anything about beer, you're going to learn a lot that night. That's like one of my favorite things about craft beer. It's just that group community feeling that you get. And, we really wanted to hone in on that with Pontoon. We really wanted to create a place that, even in a predominantly white male industry, that you can come into our brewery and not feel that weight. We want it to be, that's what that's how the best way I can put it into words is a weight where, we were trying to unleash it. If there are any nerds out there, any anime fans, it's just like when, Dragon Ball Z, they drop the weights off, right? And all of a sudden they're strong as shit. That's the idea, right? You want to come in, you want to leave your baggage at the door. That doesn't mean you can't have conversations though in the brewery. And that's part of what we're trying to do is create these communities that can have these conversations over a beer, where you're safe and you have people around you that like the same things that you do.
Right. And with that being said, I know some months ago, at this point, we're in what, June?
Is it June?
Day 73, COVID.
Right. Yeah. Right. This year started off slow as shit, and it just, I don't know what time is a construct. I don't even know what it is.
Day 73, COVID.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But prior to the big COVID lockdown, not only nationwide, obviously, but specifically in Georgia, we were at the brewery, drunk probably.
Absolutely.
And you had brought that idea up, and I know you had said that, hey, this is a white male-dominated industry, and, I really felt that you were genuine and that, I want to bring everybody into it. We've been to bottle shares before, and the bottle shares are actually more diverse than what you would see
absolutely.
at your typical brewery.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more people into beer, no matter, male, female, black, white, Indian, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Everybody loves beer.
Right.
And you see that more at, parties or bottle shares, things of that nature. So you wanted a way to bring that about.
Yes.
To say that, hey, what can we do to open the doors, per se, to say,
right.
Hey, everybody should come and try beer in general. It doesn't have to specifically be Pontoon beer.
Right.
But just beer.
Right.
Meet your fellow community member.
Right.
You know, you live in Roswell, you live in Sand Springs, you live a couple miles out or whatever. It doesn't matter. You come up, you want to have a beer, you know. And so we chatted about it before and say, hey, you know, we should do something, you know.
Right.
Maybe, you know, have a forum, a talk, an event.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We talked to like, you know, we were kind of like throwing out, you know, what we wanted to call it. And I remember the conversation because we were like, we don't want to call it diversity night. Because what diversity night means to every white person is, all right, I'm going to let you do you. And that's the antithesis of what we want to do. Like the idea is we want everyone to come in and see like, oh, you are no different than I am in the sense that we have a common thing. And I think, you know, part of something that I've seen lately with, you know, all the shit that's going on, and I wouldn't say right now because it's been happening for quite some time, but it's in the news right now. And a lot of people are picking sides and alienating people and like saying, I've got family members that are driving me up a wall with their beliefs. And, you know, the idea is we want to keep those conversations, those bridges open, right? And so, you know, with this event that we want to do, we want to bring people in. And it's not always going to be easy. And it's, you know, but it's going to be a way for people to be able to mend those bridges and build those bridges. And that's really important. And so, yeah, I thought it was a cool idea. And COVID kind of, you know, put a damper on it. But, you know, now's the time to act on it.
So, yeah. So with that being said, you know, so hot take, hot off the presses. We're you know, the Atlanta podcast, the Atlanta podcast and Pontoon have decided to expand upon that drunken idea, drunken but good idea.
I think all good ideas come from being drunk at some point. So.
Right. To start a campaign about inclusion in general, not only inclusion but support.
Support, not being silenced. Not being silent and knowing the difference between being silenced and being silent, pulling in your community and really just like making a stand.
Right. So all of the above. So, you know, we were starting a campaign called, we all came up with Brewing Conversations. And as you've been listening over this conversation, this is literally how it, you know, kind of started. We're all friends, new and old, or new and mid, you know.
Yeah,
I haven't known Sean that long. You know. I didn't grow up with Sean, but you know.
It feels like a long time now, though.
In beer time, you know, it's been a while.
Friends with Myron always feels like a long time.
Yeah. I wear on you. Wear down. But starting a campaign called Brewing Conversations, where we want that inclusiveness in the beer community, but also to give back to the community that is literally helping us all stand.
Right.
So we're going to do a collaboration beer with proceeds going to a particular organization or charity, which we want it to be an ongoing thing. You know, I know when we met a week or so ago, we don't want it to be where you see a lot of companies now who are, you know, as a black person, I'm just like, I enjoy the support, quote unquote, from some certain organizations. You know, it's nice. We'll take your money, but come on now. We know NFL.
This isn't a new thing.
Right. Yeah. The NFL was like, oh, we're going to pledge, you know, I think they said, what, $25 million over the next, no.
$250 million.
Oh, $250 million.
Yeah.
Over the next 10 years. And I'm just like, you literally blackballed Kaepernick for this exact same thing. But anyway, cool.
We'll take it. Yeah. That's right.
They did admit they were wrong, though.
Not openly, because they still haven't addressed Cap.
Roger Goodell's hostage video, he said...
No, oh, okay.
In his basement with like, looked like there was someone on the other side of the camera. Like,
Read the cue card.
Yeah.
Say his name. Say his name.
But we didn't want it to be a one-off thing because it comes off as pandering or is not genuine.
Yeah, I think a term that's been going around a lot right now is virtue signaling, which you know I honestly had to look it up to see what it was, and it's the idea of doing something because it's the norm or doing something because you want to like make yourself look good. You know, it's like the people
like racism.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's like you know, the people that like go to mission trips, and, which is a
big
great,
time.
it could be a good thing. But if you're doing it to put another notch on your book, you need to reconsider why you're really doing it.
Because when they come back home and they walk past a homeless person,
Right.
they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to give you
Right.
that money. I was like, that's literally what we're talking about.
Nothing changed from what country you went from to now.
Exactly.
And I think that happens a lot. And I think I say I understand, but I think I get it, from like the opposite end of, of being a white male that owns a business, and like having that concept of, well, we really wanted to do this from day one. We wanted to do this. We'd been planning for it. And so we want this to come off as real, because this is actually how we feel. And so, there are a lot of companies out there and a lot of people that are doing it. And I think, yes, it does help. It does help the conversation, but if it's not continuing, then it's not real.
Right.
It can't be, this month we're focusing on this, and next month we focus on the shooting that happens, and the next month we focus on, the national championship, and there has to be a concentrated effort on your hurting community. I think that's the idea, is we want this to be an ongoing thing, because it's not just about right now. It's about 6 months from now. It's about 2 years from now. It's about 10 years from now. I hear a lot from people is, well, it's a lot, things are a lot better now than they were, 30 years ago. And my main response to that is, okay, well, does that mean it's good enough?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
is it ever good enough? And it probably will never be good enough, but you can't just be okay with that.
There's always room for improvement.
There's always
That's the
room for
point.
improvement, and as long as you recognize, yeah. Well, and it can't be just from, anger and grief. It has to be something that is ingrained into my kids, your kids, like the future people. And so how do you do that? You use your platform. So, all the people, making fun of the celebrities because they're using their platforms to like speak out about it. Well, they're using their platforms.
Right.
And as long as it's sincere and it's continuing, then I think it's real. But we'll see. But we are going to do this, and it's going to be ongoing.
And it's not only, ties into, current events, but when you were talking about Pontoon's origin story, you said when you open a brewery in general, you should cater to your community.
Right.
And so this is a continuing effort with that, albeit somewhat focused, to cater to the community. So, in this campaign, I know we decided to give back, each collaboration beer that we do. The proceeds will go to a organization within the community.
Right.
But the idea for the organization that receives the proceeds will come from the community themselves.
Right.
Which I think is different from what other people are doing. Like it's always nice that someone can say, "Hey, I'm just going to donate to this super large organization."
Right.
Generic. Which is again still appreciated.
Still helpful.
But if you are going to be a business owner within a community, for the people that literally patron you, you should give back to them specifically on what they need.
Absolutely.
So if you have a school literally down the street that says, hey, we need to raise $5,000 for the desks or whatever, you can say, hey, cool, we got you. Next beer, we're going to give you $5,000 right off the top.
Right.
Something like that. And they, you feel that within the community. You don't see, like your mission trip, example. So, oh yeah, we gave $1 million in mission trips. I was like, but your people here are hurting, not in Guatemala.
Right.
Not,
And both
They're
are
hurting too. but
Right.
your neighbor.
both are important, but the concept is, if every business in their local community could give back to their local community, then all communities would be taken care of. And so I think, long term for this initiative, we would love it to grow so that someone else picks it up in their own local community and they start doing this, because it's not hard to do. From a pure, I'm gonna go, straight business here. From a pure business perspective, it makes sense for you to be involved with your community. It directly correlates with more customers coming through your door. So anybody that wants to talk about, and we've seen it. We've seen people that have called us out and said, "Do you really think this is a smart business idea?" By blacking out our logo for a day. We had
Unintended.
We had the most number of people unfollow us those 2 days than ever before. And you know what? My first thought is, well, who needs them? But my second, after thinking about it, is I feel sorry for them, and I feel sad that they are going to miss out on this. And I wish that they would come back, because I want to be able to reach out to them and communicate with them. Because the only way, like I said,
conversations.
Yeah, is brewing some conversations. And that's why they're giving us credit for the name.
How many other companies do they like? Everybody blacked out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else do you have?
What frustrated me about all of that is the number of people who, after that day and the last, since the riots started, they've had social media fatigue. The number of people who are just like, who have the privilege to say, I'm too tired of this and I want to sign off because I don't want to see this anymore. The people who can say that, who can say, I want to walk away from it, are the ones who have the privilege.
Yeah,
so how many who can walk away? The ones who need that attention are the ones who can't walk away from it, who have never been able to walk away from it. So, how many brands are actually standing up for what is right and what needs to happen? And we have a platform, and I'm really happy. Sean and I were talking, right before we had our meeting. We had people reach out to us, ask us what we were going to do. People told us, you have a platform and use it. And we had already started these conversations about brewing conversations, and we knew we were going to put it out. But it meant a lot to us to have people who saw us for what we were, standing up for, and wanted to see us, pursue that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Now, we did a teaser. You did a teaser for this whole Brewing Conversations.
We did.
A beer that was already in your lineup, right?
Right.
And proceeds of, go ahead, just take it.
This is
This is the beer that I'm rolling out right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Stuff in it.
It's a thing. So we're gonna the beer that
what is that thing? Because you're like really caressing.
You got to roll the can.
Yeah.
Kind of sexual. What's going on there?
So
Titties.
I will say. Well, wait a minute. You rolled titties?
I want to hear about that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Cylinder like this.
I know nothing.
I got nothing. Yeah.
No. So okay. So I'll start with the beer that I'm about to open. So it's the Peach City beer from Pontoon again. We're drinking all Pontoon today. So it's a New England style IPA with peaches, apricots, and then the hops are Azaka, Citra, and El Dorado. So to answer your question,
City of Gold.
so which is Atlanta, Peach City, aka Wakanda, aka Black Mecca. But so I was rolling it because in lots of beers, especially hazy beers and then fruited beers, things that have a lot of adjuncts in it, or some adjuncts. I'm gonna say a lot. The sediment sort of settles at the bottom if you have the can sitting up in your fridge or anything like that. So you roll it around to redistribute everything in it, so it's smooth. So have you ever opened a beer and first pour is kind of transparent, but as you pour, it gets more and more opaque.
Yeah.
Because it's settled. So you roll it around to redistribute everything.
Yeah, your first sip is going to taste significantly different from your last sip unless you roll the can.
Right.
And that's something, we yeah, that is definitely a beer education thing.
Wait to tell my wife that.
Yeah.
Well, you drink Bud Light. That's not going to work. No.
Hey, no, you know what though? Roll that can. Roll that can. Yeah.
Get your practice in.
Roll it out the window.
Exactly.
So yeah, this was Peach City, right? Like y'all were saying, this is Atlanta is immersed in culture and Black culture too. And so when we were talking about this, we're like, hey, look, this is the perfect beer to kind of launch this off. So we are writing a check out to the NAACP for this first one, I believe. And what's great is, the first one on kind of, a not last minute thing, but, we were able to raise over $1,000 just off of this, just to, to be able to give back. And it's something that, it was really cool. I saw a lot of people of color shout out about this beer just on our Instagram. And I don't know, if they saw or they heard, or maybe it was just it resonated with Peach City, that there was something that kind of reached them out, and everyone seemed to really like it. So, this is a cool kicking off point. And as far as the beer goes, it's super juicy. It's like biting into a fresh peach. You get some citrus in there from the hops. The mouth feel, if you want to, be all technical.
Told you about it. Told you about that mouthfeel.
It's fluffy. That's about
One of him for saying that.
it's a thing.
What I like about this beer is it's still an IPA. So, you put peaches and apricots in it, but this isn't a fruit forward beer.
Right.
It's still a beer.
Right.
You still get the bitterness from the hops. You get the floralness a little bit, and the fruitiness just sort of balances out.
Yeah.
Well. It's of course, it's opaque. It's a New England style, so it's going to be juicy. But this is less juicy than a lot of other New England style IPAs in a good way.
Right.
Because some of them have been so malty and then so fruity.
Sweet.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
sometimes, beer, we're noticing a trend in beer where things are getting sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. And, sweet beer is great, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to a drinking perspective, too much of a sweet beer, you're not going to drink a whole lot of it. And so something that it finishes just a little bit dry, it's going to make you come back for that next sip. So a lot of people don't like the bitterness, but they don't know that they actually do. It's kind of a...
This is a great beer for brunch.
It's like a mimosa.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beer
Yeah.
mimosa, right?
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is...
shit, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. A peach mimosa, that's...
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is dope. And on the can art, it has the king and queen buildings in the background.
Right?
And it has, of course, the otter.
Yep.
Now, are those peach rings I'm seeing in there too?
So the fun thing about this one is we released it in the same month as Plush Slush, which was peach rings, apricot, lactose, vanilla. So if you look at this, the front-facing part of Plush Slush is right there, and you can see the otter in the tree in the background of that beer. So the labels are the same image, different perspectives.
Inception.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's dope. I thought I had a can of Plush
Making
Slush.
like a pontoon universe out of labels.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Welcome
That's
to
actually
our
a-
simulation.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea.
Right?
Right. You can put them all on IG, and each edition you add to the bigger mosaic.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Dissolver out of Asheville, North Carolina. By far the coolest Instagram ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, and Optical Illusion started doing that
Yeah,
a couple months ago.
Tim
I caught up on
Lawrence.
I caught up on his feed, but yeah, if we didn't have so many different projects going on that it would be so difficult to combine all of them. We've talked about it. It would be fun.
shit.
Yeah.
Once you described that, I was like, wait a minute, because I was like, it looks
A
similar.
label and a label.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I would drink this in the shower.
Hey, man.
But don't judge me.
Yeah.
I would.
in the morning though. This is
morning
right.
shower.
Yeah.
Right before work.
2 a.m. shower.
Yeah, we're talking about those shower beers, I just don't get it. I get a hot tub beer. I could see a hot tub beer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, shower beer, I got water coming down on me. It's going to get in my beer. Like, I don't know.
I'm not respectable.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I
Different strokes for different folks.
yeah, there we go. There we go.
Now, we were talking about descriptions of beer. Did we talk about the description of our beer or the title of the beer?
Yeah.
We did not.
Should we drop that information
Let's do it.
now?
Let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, let's
do it.
go.
Let's get people pumped up.
The name of the beer. What is the name of the beer?
So we got any Run the Jewels, Killer Mike fans in the house. So when the riots were, like the first night of the riot was happening in Atlanta, and Killer Mike came out on stage just worked up, furious. I mean, one of the most passionate speeches I've seen. If it didn't touch some part of you, like you are truly lost. And it shows that you don't need to be a politician to get on your platform and make change. I think a lot of people were inspired by it. And actually, Myron and I were talking till like 2 o'clock in the morning, back and forth.
That night.
Yeah, that
when
night.
It started. Yeah.
We were talking about the riots, and my initial reaction was, I don't understand how people could be behind riots. It's hurting business owners. Being a business owner, it hit personally, and Myron brought up some really good questions that I couldn't answer, and that's when I knew that I needed to be even more mindful and listen. And but that night, Killer Mike ended the speech with plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize. And that, even as a white male, that meant a lot. And it should be the motto of every single business that wants to get back to their community. You should be plotting and planning and strategizing and organizing and then actually doing something and mobilizing. So when we were talking about what's this beer going to be called, it just worked. It just worked. And
on so many levels, because not only was at that particular time the riots,
5 levels actually.
yes,
right.
Yes.
were happening here, but Killer Mike said that Killer Mike is from Atlanta.
He's an AT alien.
Right. And for people who are on the fence, either side of the protests and the riots, it actually makes sense, because for the people that actually understand the frustrations of black people in Atlanta and in America, but they were sort of off-put about the riot.
That's what they were focusing on.
Right. That it actually makes sense, because it puts you in perspective of poignant frustration. It's like, don't just lash out in general, which also is understandable.
Sure.
When you've done everything you could and nothing still changes, you're back into a corner.
How many peaceful protests do you have to do in order for you to be heard?
Exactly.
And that was what Myron told me. He said, what else do we do? And I was at a loss, completely silent, couldn't figure it out, told him, I have no clue. And I think that's, light bulb, an additional light bulb. I think I've had a light bulb for a bit, but, that's like the point of, if you think you're an ally and you think you're doing everything right, reach out to the people that really know what's going on and truly be an ally. And I think that was an eye-opening experience for me. And you did a great job of being, you didn't go after me for asking the questions. You helped me answer what I needed to know.
Well, a part of that too, because I have gone off on some people, but but to your credit though, it is your approach. I remember, when we talked before, there's
Listeners, take note.
It's one way. It's one way to say that you hit me up that night, just like, hey, you see all this stuff going on? It's crazy. You said you were a little conflicted. You're a business owner, but you also are a white male in Atlanta. Blah blah blah. You just don't understand.
Yep.
That's an inquisitive approach bent on learning.
Right.
Versus you have someone, let's say, like Drew Brees, fuck the Saints.
Rise up.
Who said, well, I just don't agree with it. It's crazy, and I just don't, it's wrong. And I'm just like, dude, if you actually wanted to learn to understand, then your approach would be different.
Yeah.
But with that, he was defensive and offensive all in one with that. And it's like, to me, despite my bias, because I'm a Falcons fan.
Me too.
No, shut up, dude. We're not doing that now. We are not doing that now. We're not losing focus. I'm just like, if you actually wanted to learn, you would have approached that differently. Case in point, our QB, Matt Ryan, he said, obviously we know he's a white male, a rich white male at that.
Right.
In multiple posts, even prior to that. He said, I'm not entirely sure what's going on right now, but I know it needs to change. That's different.
Yeah.
They're both literally white male QBs, rich. But the approach totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. And that makes, other people more receptive to a conversation.
Sure.
To say, okay, understand, so we talk about it. Versus someone coming that way, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm done.
Right.
Because a lot of people are just fed up at this point.
They're not listening anymore. Because in order to have brewing conversations, in order to do that, you do need to be able to be open-minded and listen. And I think that's something that our generation does a pretty good job of. Is the previous generation, our parents' generation, a lot more. These are the same people giving us shit about student loans, even though the price of college has, exponentially grown, and wondering why we don't have houses because the cost of living is incredibly increased. These are the same people that don't understand those things, so it's really hard to bring them into the fold. And so
they're set in their ways.
They're set in their ways, but in a way where why be set in your ways? What's the point of being right all the time if you're not going to learn? The day that I learn all that there is to be about brewing, like all there is about brewing, like I'm probably done with it because that's not fun anymore. Or it's not, life is about learning and growing and being wrong and then figuring out what the right way is. And so when we were talking that night, it was very educational for me. It was humbling. And I didn't feel guilt. I hear white guilt get thrown out, and that's something that a lot of people talk about on the other side, that you're just trying to make me feel guilty. And I agree that no one ever learns by being guilted into doing anything. You try guilting your kids into doing something, as soon as you turn around, they're going to do the opposite.
That's very true.
There's no need to have white guilt. It's just understanding. It's understanding there's privilege all across the board. It's understanding what your privilege is and understanding how you can best utilize it and help out your community. And it's understanding the people that don't have the same privilege as you and understanding that they have to go through struggles that you will never have to.
Right.
And it's not okay, but I can do something about it. We can do something about it. We can have these conversations and start to, really make true change. And so I think when Killer Mike came out and, dropped that doozy of a speech,
which I don't think Mayor Bottoms and anybody else expected that.
No,
when he
but they
first
didn't stop
started,
him.
It was
when
a
he,
freestyle too.
Right.
Yeah, oh yeah. He was cussing on live TV,
And everybody was just like, okay.
when he first started, everybody behind him was like, "Yep." He's like, "Oh yeah, go home. Don't do this." Everybody's like, "Yeah." Then he continued.
Yes.
And they were like, "Oh shit."
I'm not gonna lie. I looked over and I told my wife, I was like, "Are they bringing Killer Mike off?" And then I grabbed the camera and I started recording.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like when you said earlier, you don't necessarily have to be a politician to enact change or whatever. Killer Mike has been an activist for a very
Long time.
very long time.
If you listen to Run the Jewels and you don't understand that through the lyrics, you are not listening. It's like the people that didn't know that Rage Against the Machine was Racing Against the Machine.
I was like, what the fuck
Wash
machine?
machine, toaster,
The son of a police officer too.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of family in police that were in the police office, and he said that he's like, look, I know there are good police officers out there, but you got to do better. And I've got family. My father-in-law, he was a high-ranking official for Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department in Tampa, and he is like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's all about learning, and he's all about training. In fact, that was one of the reasons he left, was his lieutenant did not want to implement the new training policies. He wanted to get rid of the thing where you couldn't have tattoos and be a police officer, saying, hey, we're turning away good candidates over something stupid that doesn't make any sense.
That's crazy.
And so, hearing it from other police officers, like I said, I've got a bunch of family members, and I didn't find one that didn't say that was super fucked up what they did to George Floyd, and that those other cops should have did something right then and there.
But you know what? On that same token, I mean, it is like the police organization across the United States is the largest gang in America.
Absolutely.
So there have been good cops who tried to stop other cops from doing that, and they got fired.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they can't do anything about it.
Right.
And there's lots of talks about defund police and one of the issues is the union. Unions are largely outdated and protected. They're protecting these people that deserve to be fired, and it is almost impossible to unless it comes over politics.
Unions are, man, is literally an act of God to get someone fired.
Yep.
That's in a union.
And if you're
I used to work for the railroad, and that thing, oh my gosh, you could literally do anything, maybe except kill a person. And it has happened.
And that's the and that's the
Hiring?
Yeah.
Always, actually, always.
And that's the problem is most unions don't have the power of life or death.
Yeah.
Whereas police do. Police, and this is something that I got from my father-in-law about, what police are supposed to do. The difference between police and military is that police are supposed to de-escalate situations. They are trained to do so. Trained
Quote, unquote.
to do so. But how can you really train anybody in 9 weeks? What's the period of time?
I don't even know if it's that long.
It is very short. And you know what? I'm not. And I know, and I've got some pushback from some of my family members and friends that are police officers, and like, do you understand by doing these things and saying these things, you are condemning police officers in general. And I think there's a difference between condemning police officers, because there are good police officers that do the right thing, but if you are not actively policing your own group, who's doing it?
Because you police the community, but not your own group.
Right.
And it's not condemning police officers. It's condemning the bad cops who aren't held accountable.
And
for
the
things
system.
that they do. And
The system that protects
yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what people are marching for.
Yeah.
Just accountability.
If there are, you hear the argument, bad apples, right?
Yeah.
One bad apple, it was just a few bad apples. Well, there's another saying that a few bad apples spoil the bunch.
Yeah.
Or, what's the phrase of basically, someone bad ruins it for the rest. Mm-hmm. Well, those things still apply. And so when you let that bad apple continue to do things, to rot your organization, all the people that sat there and watched.
Shit, yeah. On a everyman's example, when you go to the dentist, if you have one bad tooth, usually in the back, a molar, whatever, do they say, "Oh, just let it stay"? It's just one. No, your whole fucking mouth is going to get destroyed
You could
eventually.
get cancer that way.
Literally.
Yeah.
If they don't
Gum
care that
disease.
one tooth.
Yeah.
Take that bitch out.
Right. Exactly. My whole thing with the accountability, which is mind-blowing that America hasn't done anything about this, prior to this, but it's also understandable.
Go ahead.
It's mind-blowing, but it's understandable being,
Clarifies a few things.
how America started, as we know. But is the accountability, it's like if you have there are other professions in America where for example, if a doctor is caught doing malpractice, if they kill somebody, they are not allowed to be a doctor.
They lose their license.
Period. Not just in Georgia.
And they can go to jail.
Yes.
Depending on how negligent it was.
Right. Not just in Georgia. It's like you cannot be a doctor in the U.S.
Right.
You want to move to another state or another country? Sure.
Even
but not
then.
here.
Nah,
Right.
They'll
Yeah.
take it.
Depending on the country, right?
Yeah.
But cops, it's like, oh, well, no. Cops are fired, for wrongdoings, but they can just go to not only another city, a county, or a state and still be a cop and do the exact same thing.
Correct.
That's the problem.
You never
I don't
fixed
understand
anything.
That. I don't understand that.
And that's where, I think this is my personal opinion. So, I'm not saying it's right or not, but it's not the cops. It's the structure that the police were built on. Because if there was any sort of discipline handed down for anybody that did anything wrong, and I'm not talking about just shooting and killing an unarmed black male. I'm talking about the people that go out and give, I've gotten a speeding ticket when I wasn't speeding before. Abusing laws. I mean, we citizens literally pay taxes to pay police officers to protect us. And so it's, unfortunately, it's not the police officers. And like I said, this is my opinion. It's not the police officers, because if they knew that there was a system, that if they abused their power and they lost their job, they wouldn't do it. Yep. Because they would get caught, because there's been crooked cops since the beginning of time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's movies dedicated about the Boston Police Department that has been corrupt and probably still is, and, New York Police Department, all these things. And so,
Shout out to The Departed.
Right, yeah.
Excellent movie.
Just watched that the other night. And the town.
And the town.
Yeah. Man, Boston. Ooh.
Boston's right.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Tom Brady.
Tampa now.
Yeah.
So extra fuck you.
It's in our division now.
It's in our division.
And Sean.
Remember?
Oh yeah, you're not a Falcons fan, so you wouldn't know. Exactly. Please. No, but no, I wholeheartedly agree because I mean it's not that there are definitely racist people in general.
Absolutely.
But it's not just that. It's people who have a complex, or they just will do what they're allowed to do. Anybody who has raised a child knows that.
Right.
It's inherent to human beings. People are going to do what they're allowed to do.
You ever see those kids in the mall that are just like raising hell, and you're like, God, those parents suck because they just do not discipline their children.
In the mall or everywhere?
Everywhere. Let's
At the brewery, honestly.
Yeah, God. Yeah, shout out to the people that ruined 2 of our barrels.
Are you serious?
Yeah, kids throwing Cheerios in our barrels and the parents sitting there watching them, letting them do it.
What?
Sitting on our grain bags.
Yep, sitting on it. Yeah. Yep. So,
Damn.
do you expect those kids to not do that stuff though? Right. No, because they're not disciplined, so they're going to keep doing it. If my child threw Cheerios in a barrel, I mean, there's going to be some serious hell to pay.
You're going to let them know that no,
And
you
they're
don't
not
do
gonna,
that.
and they're gonna know. They're gonna learn that that's not something you do. And so it applies to grown ass adults too. If you know that if you shoot an unarmed black man and you're gonna go to jail for it, you're gonna go to prison, you might be a little bit more careful, even if you are a racist piece of shit.
Right, you're like, fuck it, maybe I'll just beat him up some.
It's not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth it. What are the weight, like the cost benefit ratio? It's not worth it.
The ROI. It's
Yeah,
like,
I can't really beat the shit out of him right now. I might lose my job. If we have to make people have those thoughts, then fine.
Here's the thing. I will
do
take an ass whooping before a bullet any day.
But the ass
Any
whooping,
day.
but the ass whooping shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't.
Right.
But because my thing is like, racism is worldwide, right? But there is a larger problem in the U.S. as far as shootings in general, not even just with the cops, shooting in general.
Right.
But that's another conversation in the U.S. versus other countries. And people are like, oh well, they're racist in England, whatever. I was like, absolutely, but they don't shoot people because they're not allowed to.
Right.
They just beat them up. I will take an ass whooping versus fucking 3 bullets in the back.
Yeah.
Right. Come on now.
I'll take it. Well, like bringing it back in, this tirade, if you will, started with talking about the beer. I don't think we got to the flavor of the beer.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
The new beer.
Yeah.
Because I was about to open up another beer.
Yeah.
But yes.
Did somebody say black? No, I'm just kidding.
It was like table flip.
So, part of Brewing Conversations is once a month in perpetuity, we're going to be working with a local entrepreneur, business owner, brewery. There's a couple black-owned breweries out there that we're going to, do some work with, distilleries, bar owners, media, you name it. But, black-owned, people of color, we're going to work with them each month, and we're going to come up with a beer idea behind it. The idea is to collaborate. And so, the first one we're launching off is with y'all. We can sit here and dictate it all day long, but we wanted you guys to come up with the idea. So you tell us what we're doing.
Ooh.
Christian, you want us, since you brought us back, you put the reins on us.
Yeah,
Tell us the flavor.
I'll tell you how we make it happen, but you tell us what it is.
Okay. From what we have collaborated, it is a peach and lemon tea sour.
Right.
Yep.
We wanted to still be southern. We are in Atlanta, and
Peach City.
it's a beach city, and it's it's coming out. It's during the summer. It's hot as shit in Georgia, as we know.
Yep.
So what's
High crushability.
right?
Yes.
So what's more refreshing than some peach lemon tea?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sit out on the porch, sit out at the brewery. At home, cutting grass,
Yep.
shooting the hooch,
Yep.
which I don't like to do. But
Bone
You
crusher
got to come
level
out with us
crushability.
sometime. It's fun.
I've done it once, and it's just not my thing. But regardless, it's we all decided like that would be a great flavor profile to work with,
Yeah.
and it's very inviting.
Yes.
You know.
And, we got to throw the pontoon spin on it. So, and actually, you guys came up with it, but we were very excited about it. We're putting peach rings and lemon heads in it as well. So,
And in true pontoon fashion, we had peach rings already sitting around.
yes,
so.
we had several boxes of peach rings. So, it's going to be really cool. And, for the listeners out there that hear sour beer and you're immediately like, whoa, I don't like that.
That was me.
That exactly. That was it. And the point is, we call it a sour beer because it has a little bit of acidity and tartness to it, but it's very approachable and inviting. You get some sweetness, you get some tartness, and you get that crushable flavor that you're just gonna sit there and you're gonna throw them back.
You ever see you remember those commercials, like those brisk lemon iced tea commercials? When you see the glass with the ice with a lemon wedge, you see the condensation falling down the glass on a hot day. Imagine that. And that's
Damn, I want one now. Yeah, what the hell?
Told me on how I'm gonna photograph this
Yeah,
beer.
exactly,
So thank you for
yeah.
the marketing tip.
All right.
That's what you should expect from this.
Yeah.
You know.
Brisk, baby.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
And on another tip, because I still want to drink, so I just want to open this beer.
Let's
We're
go
drinking
ahead.
Pontoon.
Yeah.
So
We'll get back to the other one.
which I don't know. No, actually, I know I've had this before, but this was probably like one.
Did you have the OG one?
Yes.
The original back in the day? So
Yes.
We spruced up the can art a bit. She looks a little different now.
Okay, so for our listeners, I'm about to open up Galaxy Drifter. It's the American style IPA, not to be confused with the New England style IPA that we just had.
Yep.
Yeah.
Using
Tom
Galaxy and Citra hops. Yes. The can art is really dope and psychedelic. It has an astronaut in a tube. Since just
shooting
shoot
the space hooch.
right. Drinking the beer, of course. You have like some random space theme. You got a spaceship. You got craters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's
some
pretty dope.
UFOs.
I haven't had this beer in a while, so you just said it's different. How is it different from
So
last
this
time?
used to be our core beer. So our core IPA for the longest time was Galaxy Drifter, and it's kind of a American IPA, West Coast IPA. It's got some really balanced bitterness and some good citrus qualities to it. It's got some juicy notes to it. But we changed. So a big thing in beer is water profile. And so a lot of homebrewers, that's like the first like thing you do when you're a homebrewer, when you like take it up the next notch, is when you start messing with water chemistry and how much calcium and how much all right.
It looks nice though.
Yeah.
Man.
That's a brisk effect,
Exactly.
Yeah. So this beer, we changed the water profile a little bit and brought it back as more of a West Coast American style IPA. As opposed to like the Tropicalia, like juicy, before the New Englands really started popping up down here. And so it goes back to the basics of what a true IPA is. You get the bitterness, the piney, the resiny, but you get the citrus. It's a little bit more balanced. This is the beer that this is my style IPA. This is like when I want an IPA, I love New England's, but it's never going to be that American West Coast IPA for me.
All right. A big difference between the two different styles of IPA is definitely the look.
Yes.
So what we had the Peach City, which was a New England style, so it's going to be opaque, literally opaque. You can't see through it. It's juicy. This is going to be a lot more transparent. This looks closer to the Dock Party Pilsner. It's not a Pilsner though, but it looks closer to that in color and how transparent it is. So that's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nose is great.
Yeah, you get some stone fruit, get some passion fruit, some peach, some apricot, some melon. But it really is.
And not to confuse the listeners, these are characters that you get from the
Yes.
hops. None of that is actually in the beer.
Right. It's like when they say, you're drinking a wine and, they're like, ooh, I taste chocolate and figs. And you're like, I just taste wine. So that's what I'm doing right now. You taste this beer and you're like, I taste beer and hops. That's fine too. But yeah, the idea is to have that balanced approach. You do have some bitterness in this. We're not running away from it. But I think sometimes people confuse like being hoppy with like that backing bitterness that makes the beer a little bit more balanced.
I like bitter beers.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, so this is more your speed.
I love it.
Yeah, but a lot better than the bullshit you drink. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna come after us. They don't listen to us.
Yeah.
They make far too much money.
So circling back to plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize, PPSOM, we were honored with having a specific person, a particular person, do the artwork for the can. So for those of you who are fans of FRKO, who has been on the podcast a few times, it's something to collect.
Oh yeah.
And the artwork is pretty dope. I look like the Nutty Professor. You do. I mean, it's cool, I guess.
I like you though.
Fuck you.
It does. I mean, you cut your hair now, but and you shaved, but no. Prior to that, no.
He could have gave me a stronger jaw. I know it's not there, but he could have.
Wow.
Yeah.
But now the can art is held up. I mean, if you know FRKO, or if you came to our ATL Christmas party,
Yes.
this past
Christmas party.
December.
I always think like only a handful of people were there, and then I go to if you go to our Insta story, our Instagram page, we have a Christmas party like the thing where you can click on it and you can see past Insta stories. There's quite a few people that showed up to it.
A lot.
Despite
And
despite
it was
raining
the
sideways.
rainiest day in the of the
I was
year.
like, oh, no one's gonna show up, man.
Yeah.
They came out though.
It was awesome.
But yeah, FRKO was out there. Obviously he's been on the podcast a couple times. Famed artist from Atlanta, in Atlanta.
Black artist,
which is important. But if
Black.
Atlanta bred.
if you know his art, you know his art because it's very unique. It is very unique.
He definitely has a signature. Yeah.
Right. But when we were just talking about what he did for our label, I don't know if I actually want to say that, but
No, say it.
No, but it's true because the label he did for us gave off a Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse, that's what it reminded me
Type
of.
vibe.
Yeah, in a very
Freaking
cool
House
way.
Rock.
Yeah, FRKO House Rock, yeah.
Shit, which is really dope. FRKO's House Rock.
Yeah.
But it actually works with what we're trying to do too, because we're trying to educate.
Right.
But he blessed us with his talent to do the logo and the can art. So we're really excited.
Really happy that he was signed on. I mean, when you guys were talking about it, I was like, okay, cool. Maybe he'll do it. And the fact that he was so gung ho about it, he wanted to do it. It was like
he sent what, like the first draft on a napkin, like
He just be
that
drawing.
week.
Yeah.
I'm always, I shouldn't be, but still, I'm always, surprised at professional artists how quickly and great, a sketch is.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I think Christian was texting him or emailing him, and he was like, oh, something like this. And I was like, this shit's done.
He got it
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you mean? It was like,
Were you listening to us? Like, yeah.
he was like, no, I just threw this, together. But, a sketch. But, he had his flair, his color, and all of that. But, it's dope. I'm super excited that he did it. And can't wait till he.
And that's that was part of the brewing conversations, the template, right? Where every month we're working with a different artist to a different artist of color that's going to come in, and the idea is there's not this brewing conversations. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be comfortable. Like that's kind of the point. Is it's not always going to be that way. And so we get these artists who, like y'all, are hurting right now and angry and frustrated. And the cool thing about an artist is when they are emotional, any emotional range, they get to put that into art and create an impact. And so furthermore with this project, we get to bring in, well-known and not well-known artists that, we're going to be seeking y'all out. So if there are any artists of color out there that want to be part of this, like reach out to the Atlanta podcast or Pontoon. Let us know, because we want to work with you guys as well, and we want to take that passion, and anger and frustration, and we want to put it onto something that you can, be proud of, and also has a platform and a message. And that's what FRKO did. I mean, it was like super fast. And I swear y'all told him, and then like 15 minutes later, we had something.
Yeah.
That's what mega talent gets you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, as far as Pontoon goes, like Sean was saying, generally we have a very opinionated group, which is great. But for this platform, we've discussed we're not putting our opinions in this. This is not our story to tell. These are not our messages. So all of these artists we're collaborating with, we want their stories to be portrayed. We want them to speak loud and proud on every label. So
no edits.
No edits.
It's
yeah.
unscripted, raw.
Almost like the podcast.
Yes. Yes. I like a podcast I can swear on. So
And drink.
yeah.
Profusely.
There you go.
That's true. You're encouraged.
Welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, do we want to talk about dates for the first event?
Oh yes.
Let's talk about dates for the first event.
Look at Shannon bringing us chuckleheads together.
So I
Yeah.
like to tell y'all. So I've been cracking open beers, and Shannon's been like keeping us in check, and she's like, oh yeah, you can talk about that. You can talk about that. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. I was like, damn, I've just been focusing on being black and mad and drunk.
Which brings us right into these events. I mean, this campaign was built on a couple of things, working with people in the community, brewing conversations, brewing the beers. But the third point, which we had kind of brought up earlier, were these events that we want to do, non-diversity night events. So our brewing conversation forums, we want to invite everyone to come out to Pontoon, where we'll have specials and
beer specials.
But we'll also be having guests each week or each month for these events. So our first one, each one will line up with one of our release days. So plot, plan, organize, strategize, mobilize. There we go. It's a long one. That will be on July 17th.
Awesome.
And you guys want to talk about some of the guests that we're going to have on that?
Yes. As far as guests are concerned, FRKO is definitely
Yup.
down to be a part of it. I mean, you'll have us there.
And it's y'all's beer, so
Y'all's beer.
I hope
Our
so.
fucking faces on the label, man. Not a damn guess. It's our house.
They look beautiful on the label at that.
Please, not a damn guess. It's our shit. But
Yeah.
no,
hosting.
FRKO's gonna be down there, and then we're gonna reach out to former podcast attendees and fans and friends of the podcast. So
Our tap team.
right,
El Sharpton.
El Sharpton,
El Sharpton.
he's been on before. We're gonna reach out to obviously we talked about doing some future collaborations with some black-owned breweries, which two black-owned breweries in Georgia. The homies from Down Home, they've been on the podcast too. And then Konzo, which Konzo with a K, KHONSO.
Got some Egyptian branding, super cool.
The Eye of Ra, I
Yep.
believe, is in there. So you may not know about them, so you should definitely come out and see what they have to say.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, it's going to be a great time, and if you've never actually been to Pontoon at all, you should definitely come.
Yeah.
They have a huge space. It's great, and I always have a good time, but probably too much of a good time
No
there.
such thing.
It's going to be really awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it. Just the fact that, granted, I mean, you already have people of color there and celebrating and enjoying life and stuff like that.
Shit,
But
part owner.
But like this event, it's the idea, the concept behind it is exactly something that we need, because there are so many companies that are just throwing up the blackout image, and that's kind of it.
Yep.
And I still feel a certain way about being in the presence of those people, so on and so forth, with those companies. We won't shout out any of those names, but I definitely want to say thank you for bringing in or taking in everything that's happening and generating an idea of how you can contribute to the betterment of society. Because we got kids.
Yeah.
And while thanks is appreciated, it's not necessary because we shouldn't have to do an initiative to have a something set up like this. That's kind of the goal is. Something that I'm encouraging listeners out there that hear this. Are you looking for a place to come in and kind of speak your mind and tell us what's on your heart and what you're going through? We're gonna open it up to Atlanta Podcasts and FRKO and talk about their stories. But then also, I think a Q&A session, but a place where if you're feeling frustrated or scared or mad or hopeful, maybe you've got some really cool news that you can bring to the community and talk about things. Like, this is a place where you can come and you can have those conversations, and don't just, you don't need a mic to do it. There's people, all the people that are going to be there on July 17th are there for the same reason. So, we encourage you to socially distance, make sure you're being safe, wearing masks and all the good stuff. But, at the same time, making sure that you go out and you meet people that you haven't met before, talk to people you haven't talked to before, hear their stories, make new friends. Who doesn't like making new friends? I mean, I know there's some out there. Shout out to our old brewmaster, Cole. Love you. But you just like to hide in your cave, troll, and that's okay, man. But
Like a beer troll?
yeah, man, not in the way where he like messes with people online. He just liked him being by himself, and that's okay. Yeah,
Not the new age troll.
Not the new age troll. Yeah.
I got
No,
you.
Cole is the furthest thing from a new age troll. We miss Cole.
We do.
Yeah, we just want this to be a place where people can come and really like get shit off their chest. And meet new people, and we're hoping that this grows. We're going to do it once a month, and it's going to be a new beery every time. It's going to be a new collaboration every time. It's going to be a new artist every time, and it's in perpetuity. We're not doing this for 3 months and then calling it a day. It's going to keep going, and it's going to be something fun, and hell, it gives us more ideas for beers, which we're always looking for.
Right. I mean, I like that you said it's in perpetuity, because like the issue that we collectively are trying to tackle is an issue that has been going on for hundreds of years. So it's not going to be an overnight fix. It's going to take a while, and it's going to take more than us, obviously, but we can start here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is the point.
We need to give our kids, our future, a platform where it's better than what we have right now. I've got a son, he's turning 1 this Saturday.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. Time is flying. Don't let me forget. I'm sending invites out for a birthday party. There's gonna be cake
Alyssa
and beer.
already did.
Okay. All right. Well.
It already exists.
Okay. Cool.
I got the invite.
It's a thing.
I'll
There you
send
go.
it to y'all because
I
Sean's
did.
gonna forget
It's
in
there.
5
I will
minutes.
100% forget.
It's a thing.
Yeah. But I want him to grow up in a world where it's a little bit better than what it is right now. And it'd be great if it was a lot better. But, a lot of this comes from, having a kid is a very humbling experience of what really matters and what's really important. And I got an example to set. And so, this is, it hits home personally because, I don't want to be that dad when he grows up that he goes, man, he's a racist piece of shit. And I don't feel that way about my dad, although we do have our struggles. I love my dad, and he's still working through it, and that's my job is to keep talking with him, keep those brewing conversations going. He's a good man. He's just lost. Love you, Dad. But
He's gonna listen.
I'm gonna make him listen.
Hey.
Shit.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And
Number 13.
and that's what it's all about. Is I'm not shaming him. He grew up in a household that learned a certain way, and hopefully he knows that his son is a level-headed individual, and I'm just trying to help him out. And I encourage everyone to have those conversations with your parents, with your friends, with those things. Don't cut off communications. reason it's called Brewing Conversations, right? We want to keep these
Exactly.
conversations over. Don't shut people out because they're lost right now. Make sure that you have those. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be uncomfortable. And that's the majority of the event on the 17th is gonna be fun, right? We're gonna talk about good things.
Beer makes it easier.
Beer makes it
Beer
easier.
does.
But there are going to be times where, we may have a couple people that come up and have some tough stories or some things. And I'm looking forward to hearing those people out and giving them a platform to be able to talk their mind.
Now, I don't know why I'm always thinking about food.
Oh, we got to get some food there.
Because food is great.
So exactly. So during this event, I assume that we can also have some food vendors there.
We are, and I know you guys do this cool thing called ATL Salute. So I don't want to take away your thunder.
Absolutely.
There we
Myron
go.
just cracked open another beer. Let's do the ATL salute after he cracks that open.
No.
Oh, no, that's not for that. That's,
This is just a drink. I wanted
oh, okay.
I wanted the beers that we're drinking on air
Oh, yeah.
just to be Pontoon, because that's the point.
Understood. Fuck that.
So
This
we've
isn't
got an
Pontoon.
after party after
Although
the
it's still a
ATL
Georgia beer,
salute.
though.
Yeah. Shout out to
Yeah.
Creature Comforts and Chris
It's still
and Blake and all them.
Still a Georgia beer, but this was about us at the Atlanta Podcast and Pontoon collaboration coming together and not using that bitch ass stock photo that Drew Brees used.
Oh,
This
man.
bullshit right here.
We'll recreate it.
No.
I feel like it was more like finger. It was like it was like it was really cringeworthy. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, that's weird. Yeah.
No, it's funny because it actually a comedian, forget his name, wasn't an Atlanta comedian, but everybody was going in on Drew Brees. But he said, man, Drew Brees used this $10.99 stock photo, and he said, I know it was $10.99 because I found it. He was like, if you want to use this, and he literally did it out, and he was like, you go here, if you want to use stock photos, you got to pay to use it. It was that exact same photo without the watermark because he paid the $11 fucking dollars for this.
I mean,
Drew
some
Brees
things
donated
is like-
$11 to.
Reverse image search is so easy to use
so
these
easy,
days.
yeah.
That's a rookie mistake.
His publicist was having a bad day.
Yeah.
Right? Real quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to New Orleans.
Y'all should hire Shannon.
Yeah.
She does a lot better. Oh, no. She's going to take away from you, Sean.
Yeah.
Never mind.
We actually just launched into Louisiana for distribution too. So
Y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome.
We love you.
I spent my bachelor party there. I love that.
Well, hey,
Keep buying our beer.
they lost a lot. They lost a lot of fans because of that.
yeah,
Because of his bachelor party?
No. Well,
maybe.
Shit, we were.
Now I need to know more.
We were wild that weekend.
It was wild.
That's another episode though. That's another episode.
We're reaching the end of the episode. At the end of every episode, we like to give an ATL salute to somebody in the Atlanta or Metro Atlanta area that's doing something big, something great, something awesome. And when we have a guest on the podcast, we hand that responsibility over to them. So, guys, who do you want to give an ATL salute to?
So, this is a special ATL salute because it will be next month's Brewing Conversations collaboration.
Ooh.
So there is a guy in our local community. I'm going to say it right now, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people. I'm going to start a lot of heated conversations.
Fox Brothers is going to come at you.
Best barbecue in Georgia goes to Phillips Barbecue.
Bold statement, and I support it.
No, and it is 100% real. This isn't pandering. Like, legit, the dude doesn't care if you use sauce or not on his barbecue. He is that confident. I don't eat it with sauce, and his sauce is amazing. But shout out to Rashid over at Phillips Barbecue. He's got a great story. He is a black-owned barbecue joint. He is one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. He is always at the brewery. His barbecue sells out in like 5 seconds. Fun story. At our anniversary, he sold out of barbecue not once, not twice, 3 times. He went home. 3 times he went home and smoked more barbecue just to be able to bring it to our anniversary party.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the dude is a machine, and we're really looking forward to bringing him into the fold, hearing his story, seeing what he was about, where his how he came about. He's got a really cool story with Martha Stewart that I'll leave for a later conversation.
Maybe we could have one podcast. Maybe we'll bring some barbecue.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Love me some Martha.
So, yeah. I love that her and Snoop Dogg are like best friends, and I
like
totally
tight
see it.
now.
Totally see it.
Like legit.
Yeah.
Only one is a convicted felon.
Yeah.
Next time on Guess the Race.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys so much for the inclusion, the beer project, which is awesome, and this plan for Brewing Conversations. Sounds very awesome, very needed for the community, and thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys, and thanks for cracking some beers open with us.
Oh, for sure.
Well, Myron's about to pour up another one. You guys, we'll talk to you later. Peace.
Deuces.
I didn't want to come, and I don't want to be here. I'm the son of an Atlanta City police officer. My cousin is an Atlanta City police officer, and my other cousin, East Point police officer. And I got a lot of love and respect for police officers, down to the original 8 police officers in Atlanta that even after becoming police had to dress in a YMCA because white officers didn't want to get dressed with niggers. And here we are 80 years later. I watched a white officer assassinate a black man. And I know that tore your heart out. And I know it's crippling. And I have nothing positive to say in this moment because I don't want to be here. But I'm responsible to be here because it wasn't just Dr. King and people dressed nicely who marched and protested to progress this city and so many other cities. It was people like my grandmother, people like my aunts and uncles who were members of SCLC and NAACP, and in particular, Reverend James Orange, Mrs. Alice Johnson, and Reverend Love, who we just lost last year. So I'm duty-bound to be here to simply say that it is your duty not to burn your own house down for anger with an enemy. It is your duty to fortify your own house so that you may be a house of refuge in times of organization. And now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is time to beat up prosecutors you don't like at the voting booth. It is time to hold mayoral offices accountable, chiefs and deputy chiefs. Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are. I'm mad as hell. I woke up wanting to see the world burn down yesterday because I'm tired of seeing black men die. He casually put his knee on a human being's neck for 9 minutes as he died like a zebra in the clutch of a lion's jaw. And we watch it like murder porn over and over again. So that's why children are burning to the ground. They don't know what else to do. And it is the responsibility of us to make this better right now. We don't want to see one officer charged. We want to see 4 officers prosecuted and sentenced. We don't want to see targets burning. We want to see the system that sets up for systemic racism burnt to the ground. And as I sit here in Georgia home of Stevens, Georgia, former vice president of the Confederacy. White man said that law, fundamental law, stated that whites were naturally the superior race, and the Confederacy was built on a cornerstone. It's called a cornerstone speech. Look it up. The cornerstone speech that blacks would always be subordinate. That officer believed that speech because he killed that man like an animal. In this city, officers have done horrendous things and they have been prosecuted. This city's cut different. In this city, you can find over 50 restaurants owned by black women. I didn't say minority, and I didn't say women of color. So after you burn down your own home, what do you have left but char and ash? CNN? Ted did a great thing. I love CNN, I love Cartoon Network, but I'd like to say to CNN right now, karma's a mother. Stop feeding fear and anger every day. Stop making people feel so fearful. Give them hope. I'm glad they only took down a sign and defaced a building and they're not killing human beings like that policeman did. I'm glad that they only destroyed some brick and mortar and they didn't rip a father from a son. They didn't rip a son from a mother like the policeman did. When a man yells for his mother in duress and pain and she's dead, he is essentially yelling, please, God, don't let it happen to me. And we watch that. So my question for us on the other side of this camera is, after it burns, will we be left with charred, or will we rise like a phoenix out of the ashes that Atlanta has always done? Will we use this as a moment to say that we will not do what other cities have done, and in fact, we will get better than we've been? We got good enough to destroy cash bonds. You don't have to worry about going to jail for something petty. We got smart enough to decriminalize marijuana. How smart are we going to be in the next 15 or 20 years to keep us ahead of this curve? So that much like when South Africa suffered apartheid, you had Andy and other politicians that could make sure that Atlanta said, Coca-Cola, we love you, but if you don't pull out of South Africa, we're going to leave. We're not going to drink Coca-Cola anymore. Coca-Cola jumped on their side and apartheid ended. So we have an opportunity now. Because I'm mad, I don't have any good advice. But what I can tell you is that if you sit in your homes tonight, instead of burning your home to the ground, you will have time to properly plot, plan, strategize, and organize and mobilize in an effective way. And two of the most effective ways is first taking your butt to the computer and making sure you fill out your census so that people know who you are and where you are. The next thing is making sure you exercise your political bully power and going to local elections and beating up the politicians that you don't like. You got a prosecutor sent your partner to jail and you know it was bullshit, put a new prosecutor in there. Now's your election to do it. You want a different senator that's more progressive, that promotes marijuana through, now is the time to do that. But it is not time to burn down your own home. I love and I respect you. I hate I don't have more to say. I hate I can't fix it in a snap. I hate Atlanta's not perfect for as good as we are. But we have to be better than this moment. We have to be better than burning down our own homes. Because if we lose Atlanta, what else we got? We lose an ability to plot, to plan, to strategize, to organize, and to properly mobilize. I want you to go home. I want you to talk to 10 of your friends. I want you guys to come up with real solutions. I would like for the Atlanta City Police Department to bring back the Community Review Board, one that Alice Johnson was formerly under Chief Turner. We need a review board here because we need to get ahead of it before an officer does some stupid shit. We need to get ahead of it. That's my recommendation to my mayor and my chief. Let's get a review board. Let's get ahead of it, and let's give them power. We don't need an officer that makes a mistake once, twice, 3 times, and finally he kills a boy on national TV, and the next thing you know, the country is burning down. We don't need a dumbass president repeating what segregationists said. When you start looting, we start shooting. But the problem is some officers black and some people going to shoot back, and that's not good for our community either. I love and respect you all. I hope that we find a way out of it because I don't have the answers, but I do know we must plot, we must plan, we must strategize, organize, and mobilize. Thank you for allowing me some time to speak. I'd like to appreciate our chief for what she said on YouTube. I thought it was very bold to do. I'd like to appreciate our mayor for talking to us like a black mama and telling us to take our ass at home. And I'd like to thank my friend for convincing me to come here. And I'll defer to Joe Beasley now because he knows a hell of a lot more than we do.
If you like that episode and you want to hear more of the Atlanta Podcast, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify.
Google Play.
We're on Google Play?
Yep.
We're on Google Play.
Oh shit.
And
Wait a minute, do you have a? Oh,
also,
yeah, you don't have an iPhone. My bad.
ooh,
Everybody doesn't have an iPhone, gentlemen.
Yeah, you're right. Only the people that matter.
well, whatever you're using, help us out. Leave a review.
Support.
Give us some stars. However the fuck they do it on whatever you're listening. And
Thumbs up.
follow us on Instagram.
Yes, please.
We have quite the following. You get some exclusive content on there.
Videos from
Plus,
my
we have
shitty
our own Instagram
phone.
thought, Justin.
Yeah, we got an Instagram thought, Justin.
I be thotting.
Follow us at The Atlanta Podcast. See you next time.
Peace.